right, let's cut through the noise. You're here because you feel that something's off. You're living in a world that's got its hooks in you, and you don't even know it. I'm Elon Musk, and I'm not here to sugarcoat things. I'm here to tell you the truth. You've been programmed. Your entire life, society's been wiring your brain to chase things that don't matter, likes, followers, applause, that fleeting rush of being noticed. You've been told your worth is tied to how many people clap for you, how many heads turn when you walk into a room. But let me ask you something straight up. Are you free? Or are you just a puppet dancing to someone else's tune? I've been there. When I was a kid in Pretoria, South Africa, I didn't fit in. I was the weird guy with big ideas, reading sci-fi novels while everyone else was playing rugby. I felt the pressure to be someone I wasn't, to chase approval, to prove I was enough. And when I started out in Silicon Valley, building Zip2, then X.com, I saw it again, this invisible script society hands you. It says, work harder, buy the flashy car, get the corner office, and then you'll be somebody. But here's the kicker. I realized early on that script wasn't mine. It was theirs. And if you're following it, you're not living, you're performing. Think about it. Every day, you're bombarded with signals telling you what to want. Social media, it's a slot machine designed to keep you pulling the lever, chasing that dopamine hit from a notification. Billboards, ads, influencers, they're all selling you a version of success that's not yours. You're told to crave the six-figure salary, the perfect body, the viral moment, and you buy into it. You think that's freedom? No, that's a cage, a shiny, comfortable cage, but a cage nonetheless. You're running on a hamster wheel thinking you're going somewhere, but you're just powering someone else's machine. Let's talk about the Matrix. Yeah, I said it, Matrix, not the sci-fi kind, but close enough. It's the system society's built to keep you distracted, to keep you chasing things that vanish the second you grab them. You ever feel that emptiness after you get what you thought you wanted? That new car, that promotion, that moment when everyone's looking at you, it feels good for, what, a day, a week? Then it's gone, and you're back to square one, chasing the next hit. That's not an accident, that's design. Society wants you addicted to validation because an addicted mind is easy to control. When I was building SpaceX, people thought I was nuts. Rockets? You're going to compete with NASA? Good luck, kid. I could have listened to that noise. I could have chased the approval of the experts, played it safe, built something small and respectable. But I didn't. Why? Because I started to see through the matrix. I realized that chasing applause was a trap. It's like trying to fill a bucket with a hole in it. You'll never have enough. The real power comes when you stop looking outside yourself for permission to exist. That's when you start building something real. Let's get practical for a second. You're sitting there maybe in a coffee shop in San Francisco or an apartment in New York, scrolling through your phone, comparing your life to some influencer's highlight reel. You feel like you're falling behind, like you're not enough. That's the matrix talking. It's whispering in your ear, you need more followers, more money, more status. And you listen because you've been trained to. From the moment you were a kid, you were taught that your value comes from what other people think of you. You got a gold star in school. You felt like a king. You got ignored. You felt like nothing. That's not freedom, that's conditioning. Here's where it gets real. You're not just chasing likes or a bigger paycheck. You're chasing a feeling that says, I'm enough. But the world set it up so you never get there. You're like a rocket burning fuel to stay in orbit, but you're not going anywhere. You're spending your energy, your life, trying to prove something to people who don't even care. And the worst part, you're doing it willingly. You're signing up for it every day, with every post you make, every outfit you buy, every decision you let someone else's opinion shape. I'm not here to make you feel bad. I'm here to wake you up. When I started Tesla, we were bleeding cash. Everyone said electric cars were a pipe dream. I could have listened to the doubters, chased the safe path, and gone for something that'd get me a pat on the back. But I didn't. I doubled down. Why? Because I realized something. The only way to break free is to stop playing by their rules. You've got to rewrite the code in your head. You've got to stop letting the world push your buttons. This isn't about giving up desire. I'm not telling you to live like a monk or ditch your ambitions. Desire's not the enemy, it's fuel. The problem is you're letting someone else control the engine. Every time you make a choice to impress someone, to fit in, to avoid looking weird, you're handing over the keys to your life. You're letting the matrix decide where you go. And let me tell you, it's not taking you to Mars, it's taking you in circles. So here's the deal. The ultimate weapon for you, the modern man, is what I call the sovereign mind. It's a mind that doesn't react, it decides. It doesn't beg for approval, it creates. It doesn't chase validation, it builds value. When I started Neuralink, people said, brain-computer interfaces? That's science fiction. But I didn't care about their skepticism. I cared about the mission. A sovereign mind doesn't need a crowd cheering to keep going. It's fueled by purpose, not applause. Let me take you back to a moment. Early days at SpaceX, we had 3 rocket launches fail in a row. 3. Each one was like a punch to the gut. Millions of dollars, years of work gone. The press was tearing us apart, saying I was in over my head. I could have crumbled. I could have chased the easy win, something to make people say, wow, Elon's back on track. But I didn't. I sat in silence, looked at the data, and asked myself, what's the truth here? What's the mission? That's the sovereign mind at work. It's not about ignoring the noise, it's about seeing through it. You're in a war, whether you like it or not with guns or tanks, but with ideas. The world's fighting to keep you small, to keep you chasing shiny objects while it picks your pocket. Every time you scroll past an ad for a luxury watch or a life-changing app, you're being sold a lie that you need something outside yourself to be whole. But you don't. You've got everything you need right here in your head. The question is, are you going to use it or are you going to let someone else use you? I've spent my life building things, cars, rockets, tunnels, AI. But the hardest thing I've ever built is my own mind. It's a daily fight. The world's loud, and it's only getting louder. Every day, it's trying to pull you back into the matrix to make you care about things that don't matter. But every day, you've got a choice. You can choose to be a cog in their machine, or you can choose to be the guy who breaks it. Let's be clear. This isn't easy. Rewriting your mental code takes work. It's like debugging a program with a million lines of bad code. You've got to go line by line, question by question. Why do I care what they think? Why am I chasing this? What's driving me? When I was a kid, I'd spend hours alone, reading, thinking, dreaming about the future. That's where I found my edge, not in what anyone thought of me, but in what I thought of the universe. That's what I want for you. I want you to stop running from the silence and start listening to it. That's where the real you lives. Right now, you're standing at a fork in the road. One path leads to more of the same, chasing approval, burning out, feeling like you're never enough. The other path, it's harder, it's lonelier, but it's the one that takes you somewhere real. It's the path to a sovereign mind. It's the path I've been on, from a kid in South Africa to a guy trying to get humanity to Mars. And let me tell you, it's worth it. Because when you stop letting the world push your buttons, you start pushing the world's. So, what's it going to be? Are you going to keep playing their game, or are you going to start writing your own rules? I'm not here to tell you what to choose. I'm here to tell you you can choose. That's the first step. That's the awakening. And once you see the matrix for what it is, you can't unsee it. You're already halfway out. Now let's talk about what it takes to break free for good. All right, you've seen the matrix. You know the game's rigged. Society's been steering your life, pushing you to chase validation, applause, and fleeting highs that leave you empty. Now, let's talk about how you break free. I'm Elon Musk, and I'm here to tell you about the ultimate weapon for the modern man, the sovereign mind. This isn't some abstract philosophy or feel-good nonsense. It's a tool and mindset that lets you take back control, turn your raw energy into rocket fuel, and build something that lasts, not just a career or a company, but a life that's yours. Let's get one thing straight. I'm not telling you to kill your desires. Desire's not the enemy, it's the spark. It's the drive that got me to start Zip2 in a tiny office with no money to pour everything into SpaceX when everyone said rockets were a fool's errand. The problem isn't wanting things, it's letting those wants own you. Society's trained you to point your energy outward, chasing likes, status, or that nod of approval from the crowd. But a sovereign mind, it flips the script, it takes that same fire and points it inward towards something bigger, something real. It's not about reacting to the world's noise, it's about deciding what you're going to build with it. When I was a kid, I'd lie awake at night, dreaming about colonizing Mars, building machines that could think, creating a future where humanity wasn't stuck on one fragile planet. Those dreams weren't about impressing anyone, they were mine, but the world tried to pull me away from them. In my early days in Silicon Valley, I felt the pressure to play the game network at the right parties, say the right things, look the part. I could have chased that. I could have built a nice, safe tech startup, cashed out, and called it a day. But that's not what I wanted. I wanted to change the world. And to do that, I had to learn to control my mind, not let it control me. Here's what a sovereign mind is. It's a mind that chooses. It doesn't get hijacked by every shiny distraction or every jab from a critic. It's a mind that says, I'm here to build, not to beg. When we started Tesla, the auto industry laughed at us. Electric cars? A niche hobby for tree huggers. I could have listened to that noise, toned down my vision, gone for something practical. But a sovereign mind doesn't bend to skepticism. It looks at the data, sees the truth, and moves forward. We built the Roadster, then the Mo 1 DOS, and now we're cranking out electric cars that outperform gas guzzlers. Why? Because I chose to focus on what mattered, not what was popular. Let's break it down. Your brain's like a supercomputer, capable of incredible things, solving problems, creating breakthroughs, imagining futures no one else can see. But most of you are letting it run on autopilot, reacting to every ping, every comment, every expectation. You're letting the world write your code. A sovereign mind rewrites that code. It's about taking the energy you'd waste on impressing people and redirecting it to something that lasts. For me, that's been building companies that push humanity forward, whether it's electric cars, reusable rockets, or neural interfaces. For you, it might be something else. But whatever it is, it's got to be yours, not theirs. Think about the last time you made a choice to impress someone. Maybe you bought something you couldn't afford, posted something online to look cool, or took a job because it sounded prestigious. How'd that feel? Maybe good for a minute, an hour, a day. But then what? You're back to chasing the next hit, like an addict looking for a fix. That's not power, that's weakness. A sovereign mind doesn't play that game. It's like a rocket engine. It burns hot, but it's focused. It doesn't scatter its energy, it channels it. Let me take you back to 2008. SpaceX was on the brink. We'd had 3 failed launches, and we were burning through cash faster than a Falcon 9 burns fuel. Tesla was in trouble, 2 production delays, skeptics everywhere, and I was personally funding both companies down to my last few million. The world was screaming at me to quit, to take the easy way out, to chase something that'd get me a quick win and some applause. But I didn't. I sat down, looked at the numbers, and asked myself, what's the mission? Why am I doing this? For SpaceX, it was about making humanity multiplanetary. For Tesla, it was about accelerating the world's transition to sustainable energy. Those weren't just goals, they were reasons to keep going, reasons bigger than any critic's opinion. That's what a sovereign mind does. It anchors you to something real, something that doesn't vanish when the crowd stops clapping. It's not about ignoring your desires, it's about mastering them. When I started Neuralink, people called it crazy. Connecting brains to computers sounds like something out of a sci-fi flick. But I didn't start Neuralink to impress anyone. I started it because I believe we need to merge with AI to keep up with the future. A sovereign mind lets you see past the noise, past the doubters, and focus on what's possible. Here's how you start building it. First, you've got to recognize the triggers. Every time you feel that itch to check your phone, to post something for likes, to prove you're enough, stop. Ask yourself, why am I doing this? Who's this for? 9 times out of 10, it's not for you, it's for them. That's the matrix at work, pulling your strings. The sovereign mind cuts those strings. It's not about shutting off your emotions or becoming a robot. It's about choosing what you let in. You don't need to react to every comment, every trend, every expectation. You decide what's worth your energy. Let's talk numbers for a second because I'm a data guy. Studies show the average American spends over 2 hours a day on social media scrolling, posting, chasing that next hit of validation. That's 14 hours a week, 700 hours a year. Imagine what you could build with 700 hours. A startup, a new skill, a mission that actually means something. Instead, you're giving that time to a system designed to keep you hooked. A sovereign mind says, no more. It's like upgrading your brain's operating system. Stop letting the world run your apps and start running your own. When I was building X.com, which became PayPal, I wasn't thinking about how many people would pat me on the back. I was thinking about how to make money work better for everyone. That focus, that choice turned a small idea into a company that sold for $1.5 billion. But the real win wasn't the money. It was knowing I'd built something that mattered, something that came from me, not from someone else's script. That's what a sovereign mind gives you. The power to create, not just consume. Now, don't get me wrong, this isn't about being perfect. I'm not perfect. I've made mistakes, chased the wrong things, felt the pull of the matrix. But every time I've gotten back up, it's because I've learned to anchor myself to something bigger. For me, it's the mission to make humanity a spacefaring civilization. For you, it might be building a family, creating art, solving a problem no one else can see. Whatever it is, a sovereign mind lets you choose it and stick to it, no matter what the world throws at you. Here's the hard truth. The world doesn't want you to have a sovereign mind. It wants you predictable, controllable, addicted to its rewards. When you start choosing your own path, people will push back. They'll call you crazy like they called me when I said I'd land rockets back on Earth. They'll say you're too intense, too different, too out there. But that's the point. A sovereign mind is unpredictable. It's dangerous not to others, but to the system that wants to keep you in line. Let's talk about what this looks like in real life. Imagine you're at a party. Everyone's posturing, trying to look cool, fishing for compliments. You could play that game, crack the right joke, wear the right clothes, chase that fleeting high of being noticed, or you could walk in with a sovereign mind. You're there, present, not performing. You're not scanning the room for approval. You're not measuring your worth by who talks to you. You're just you calm, focused, grounded. And you know what? People notice, not because you're trying, but because you're not. That's power, that's freedom. I've been called a lot of things: visionary, madman, genius, jerk. I don't care. Labels don't define me. My mission does. When I started the Boring Company, people laughed. Tunnels under cities? Sounds like a cartoon. But I saw a problem traffic sucking the life out of people, and I chose to tackle it. A sovereign mind doesn't wait for permission. It sees a problem, picks a direction, and moves. So here's my challenge to you. Start small, but start now. The next time you feel that urge to impress someone, to chase a quick win, to fit in pause, take a deep breath, ask yourself, is this mine or is it theirs? If it's theirs, let it go. Redirect that energy to something that matters to you. Maybe it's learning a new skill, starting a side hustle, or just sitting in silence and figuring out what you really want. That's the first step to building a sovereign mind. It's not about shutting off your desires, it's about making them work for you. This is just the beginning. A sovereign mind isn't built in a day. It's a process, a fight, a daily choice. But every time you choose to focus on what's real, you're one step closer to breaking free. You're one step closer to being the guy who doesn't just live but changes the game. That's what I've done with SpaceX, with Tesla, with every crazy idea I've chased, and that's what you can do too. The question is, are you ready to take back control? Because once you do, the world's not ready for what you'll build. Okay, you're with me, you've seen the Matrix, and you're starting to grasp what a sovereign mind can do. It's not just about rewriting the code in your head, it's about breaking the chains that keep you running in circles. I'm Elon Musk, and today we're diving into the hard stuff, the addiction loop. That's what I call the cycle of chasing validation, approval, and fleeting highs that society's got you hooked on. It's not just a habit, it's a trap. And if you want to build something real, something that lasts, you've got to face the truth about what's driving you. This isn't going to be comfortable, but nothing worth doing ever is. Let's start with a story. Back in 2008, I was in the fight of my life. SpaceX had 3 failed launches, 3 rockets that blew up or didn't make orbit. Each one cost millions, burned years of work, and made the world think I was some delusional kid playing with rockets. Tesla was on the ropes too. Moando's production was a mess. We were hemorrhaging cash, and I was pouring my own money into both companies, down to my last few bucks. The press was having a field day, calling me a failure, a dreamer who'd bitten off more than he could chew. I could have chased the easy fix, scaled back, built something smaller, something that'd get me a quick win and some applause. But I didn't. Why? Because I realized I was in a loop, and that loop wasn't mine. Here's what I mean by the addiction loop. You chase something, a promotion, a new car, a viral post, a nod from the right people. You get it, and for a hot second, you feel like you're on top of the world. You're the guy in the room everyone's looking at, but then what? That feeling fades. Fast. Maybe it lasts a day, maybe an hour. Then you're back to square one, craving the next hit. Sound familiar? It's not just you. Studies show the average American checks their phone 96 times a day, every 10 minutes. You're looking for that next ping, that next like, that next moment of I'm enough. That's not living. That's addiction. And the worst part, you're doing it to yourself. When I was younger, I felt it too. Growing up, I was the odd kid out, always tinkering, always thinking about stuff no one else cared about, like how to get humanity to Mars. I wanted to fit in, to be liked, to feel like I belonged. I'd see guys who had it all: cool clothes, smooth talk, the right friends, and I'd think, maybe that's what I need. But every time I chased that, I felt emptier. The applause was loud, but it was hollow. It was like eating junk food: tastes great for a minute, then leaves you worse off than before. That's when I started asking myself the question that changed everything. If no one was watching, would I still feel like I'm enough? That's the question I want you to sit with. If nobody liked your post, if nobody clapped for your promotion, if nobody noticed your new watch or your new car, would you still feel like you matter? If the answer is no, you're caught in the loop. You've built your identity on quicksand, and every step you take sinks you deeper. Society's got you trained to think your worth comes from outside how many followers you have, how much money's in your bank account, how many heads turn when you walk by, but that's a lie. It's a system designed to keep you running, keep you spending, keep you begging for scraps of validation. Let's get real for a second. You're sitting there maybe in a cubicle in Chicago or a coffee shop in Seattle, scrolling through Instagram, seeing some influencers' perfect life, private jets, beach vacations, six-pack abs. You feel that pang, that voice saying, I'm not there yet, I'm not enough. That's the loop talking. It's not just social media, it's everywhere. It's the coworker who brags about their bonus, the friend who's always got a better story, the ad telling you a $500 watch will make you a new man. And you buy it, maybe not with money, but with your time, your energy, your focus. You're giving away pieces of yourself to a system that doesn't care. When I was at my lowest, with SpaceX and Tesla on the brink, I had a choice. I could have chased the quick win sold off assets, taken a safer bet, gotten some headlines saying, Elon's back. But I didn't. I sat in my office, alone, with nothing but a laptop and a mountain of problems. I let myself feel the weight of it, the fear, the doubt, the emptiness. And in that silence, I found something, not answers, not yet, but clarity. I realized I wasn't building rockets to impress anyone. I was building them because I believed in a future where humanity could live among the stars. That was my truth. That was my anchor. Facing the truth means sitting in that silence. It's not fun. It's not sexy. It's like staring into a mirror with no filter, no makeup, no distractions, just you. Most people run from that. They crank up the music, scroll their feeds, chase the next hit to drown out the quiet. Why? Because silence shows you who you really are. It shows you the insecurities you've been hiding, the doubts you've been dodging, the truth you've been avoiding. But here's the secret. That silence is where your power lives. It's where you find the sovereign mind. Let's talk about how to break the loop. It starts with one simple act. Pause. The next time you feel that urge to check your phone, to prove something, to chase that hit of approval stop, take a deep breath. Ask yourself, why am I doing this? What am I really after? If it's about proving you're enough, you're in the loop. The sovereign mind doesn't play that game. It doesn't need a crowd to feel whole. It's like a rocket that doesn't need external fuel, it generates its own thrust. When I started Neuralink, people thought I was out of my mind. Linking brains to computers? That's straight out of a sci-fi novel. I could have listened to the skeptics, toned it down, chased something that'd get me a quick headline, but I didn't. I sat with the idea, let it simmer in the silence, and asked, is this worth it? Does this align with my mission? The answer was yes. Not because it'd make me look cool, but because it could change the future of humanity. That's what facing the truth does. It cuts through the noise and shows you what matters. Here's a practical step. Try this for one day. No social media, no checking for likes, no seeking approval. Just you, your thoughts, your work. It's going to feel weird, like you're missing something. That's the loop fighting back. But stick with it. Spend that time thinking about what you really want, not what the world wants for you. Maybe it's starting a business, writing a book, or just figuring out who you are when nobody's watching. That's where the sovereign mind starts to take shape. It's not about shutting off your desires, it's about redirecting them to something that's yours. Let's talk numbers again, because I'm a data nerd. The average American spends about 700 hours a year on social media. Imagine what you could do with 700 hours. That's enough time to learn a new language, build a prototype, or start a company. When I was building Zip2, I worked 80-hour weeks, coding, sleeping on a couch in the office. I wasn't doing it for applause. I was doing it because I believed in the idea. That focus, that clarity came from breaking the loop. It came from choosing my mission over the world's noise. Now, I'm not saying it's easy. Facing the truth hurts. It's like debugging a program with a million lines of bad code. You've got to go through it line by line, question by question. Why do I care what they think? Why am I chasing this? What's my mission? For me, it's always been about pushing humanity forward, whether it's electric cars, reusable rockets, or AI that doesn't outsmart us. For you, it's going to be different. But whatever it is, it's got to be bigger than a paycheck, bigger than a pat on the back. Here's the deal. Breaking the addiction loop isn't a one-time thing. It's a daily fight. The world's going to keep pulling you back, tempting you with shiny distractions, quick wins, easy applause. But every time you choose to pause, to face the silence, you're building something stronger. You're building a mind that doesn't need validation to move forward. You're building a sovereign mind. Let me leave you with this. In 2008, after our third failed launch, I stood in front of my SpaceX team. They were tired, demoralized, ready to give up. I could have sugarcoated it, chased some feel good moment to boost morale. Instead, I told them the truth. We're not done. We're going to keep going because this isn't about use, it's about humanity's future. That truth, that clarity kept us going. We launched again, and the fourth time, we made it to orbit. That's what facing the truth does. It doesn't just break the loop, it builds the future. So here's my challenge to you: stop running, stop chasing, sit with the silence. Ask yourself what you're really after. If it's not yours, let it go. If it is, hold on to it with everything you've got. That's where your power is. That's where your mission is. And that's where the sovereign mind starts to change the game. You're not just breaking free, you're starting to build something unstoppable. Let's keep going. You've seen the matrix, you've faced the truth, and you're starting to break free from the addiction loop that's been running your life. Now, let's talk about what happens when you take that raw energy, the fire inside you, and channel it into something real. I'm Elon Musk, and I'm here to tell you about the power of focus. This isn't just about getting stuff done, it's about becoming a force, a creator, a builder of futures. The sovereign mind isn't just about saying no to distractions, it's about saying yes to something bigger. It's about turning your mind into a laser beam that cuts through the noise and builds something that lasts. Let me take you back to 2004. I just put everything I had into SpaceX, a company most people thought was doomed from the start. The idea of a private company building rockets to compete with NASA, laughable. Um, I was a tech guy, not a rocket scientist, but I wasn't chasing applause or trying to prove I was smarter than anyone else. I was focused on one thing: making humanity multiplanetary. That focus wasn't just a goal, it was my anchor. It kept me going when investors turned me down, when engineers quit, when the world said I was out of my depth. That's what focus does. It turns a crazy idea into reality, one relentless step at a time. Here's the deal: the world is loud, louder than it's ever been. Your phone's buzzing, your inbox is overflowing, and every app is fighting for your attention. Studies show the average American gets distracted every 40 seconds when working on a task. Every 40 seconds. That's not a life, it's a pinball machine. You're bouncing from one notification to the next, never staying still long enough to build anything real. But a sovereign mind, it's different. It's like a rocket engine with a single vector focused, powerful, unstoppable. When I started Tesla, the auto industry was a fortress. Gas powered cars ruled, and electric vehicles were a joke, clunky, slow, with a range that barely gets you to the grocery store. I could have spread my energy thin, tried to please everyone, built something safe to win approval. But I didn't. I zeroed in on one mission: make electric cars so good they'd change the game. The Roadster wasn't just a car, it was a statement. It was fast, sleek, and electric, with a range of 245 miles, where nobody thought 100 miles was possible. That didn't happen by accident. It happened because I focused, because I said no to everything that didn't serve the mission. Focus isn't just about working hard, it's about working smart. It's about knowing what matters and cutting out everything else. When I was a kid, I'd spend hours reading, coding, dreaming up worlds where anything was possible. I wasn't trying to impress anyone. I was obsessed with ideas. That obsession, that focus is what got me to Silicon Valley, to Zip2, to PayPal. It's what got me through nights sleeping on a couch in a tiny office, coding until my eyes burned. It's what kept me going when SpaceX's first three launches failed, when Tesla was weeks away from bankruptcy. Focus is the difference between a dreamer and a doer. Let's get practical. Right now, you're probably juggling a million things: work, relationships, side hustles, social media, that Netflix show everyone's talking about. You're spread thin, like a signal with too much noise. The sovereign mind changes that. It's about picking one thing, one mission, one goal, one truth, and pouring everything into it. For me, it's been about building a future where humanity isn't stuck on Earth. For you, it might be starting a business, mastering a craft, or just figuring out who you are when the world isn't watching. Whatever it is, you've got to lock in. Here's how you do it. First, identify your mission. Not what society tells you to want, not what looks good on Instagram, but what sets your soul on fire. Maybe it's creating something new, solving a problem, leaving a legacy. Write it down. Make it clear. For me, it's always been about pushing the boundaries of what's possible: electric cars, reusable rockets, brain-computer interfaces. When I started the Boring Company, people laughed. Tunnels under cities? Sounds like a cartoon. But I saw traffic choking the life out of people, and I focused on a solution. That's your first step. Find your why. Second, cut the noise. I'm not saying delete your social media or live like a hermit. I'm saying be ruthless about what you let in. If it doesn't serve your mission, it's a distraction. When I'm working on a problem, I don't check my phone every 5 minutes. I don't scroll Twitter to see what people think of me. I dive in data, numbers, first principles. When we were designing the Tesla Mo 1 Do 3, I spent weeks obsessing over every detail, battery efficiency, aerodynamics, cost. That focus got us to a car that's now the best-selling EV in the world. You can do the same. Say no to the things that pull you off course. Third, embrace the grind. Focus isn't glamorous. It's not about big wins every day. It's about showing up, doing the work, even when it's boring or hard or nobody's watching. When SpaceX was struggling, I'd spend 16-hour days poring over engineering specs, talking to my team, figuring out why our rockets kept failing. It wasn't sexy, it was brutal. But that focus, that grind, got us to orbit. It got us to reusable rockets. It's getting us closer to Mars. Whatever your mission is, you've got to commit to the long haul. Let's talk numbers because I love data. The average American worker spends about 1,800 hours a year on the job, but how much of that is real work? Studies say up to 30% of that time is wasted meetings, emails, distractions. That's 540 hours a year gone. Imagine what you could do with 540 hours of pure focus. You could learn to code, build a prototype, write a book. When I was building Zip 2, I didn't have 540 extra hours. I had nothing. But I focused, and that focus turned a scrappy startup into a $300 million exit. That's what happens when you stop scattering your energy and start aiming it. Now, here's the hard part. Focus comes with a cost. When you lock in on what matters, you'll lose things. Friends who don't get it. Habits that don't fit. Spaces that no longer feel right. When I doubled down on SpaceX, I lost sleep, relationships, time with people I cared about. People called me crazy, obsessive, out of touch, but that's the deal. A sovereign mind doesn't try to please everyone, it picks a direction and goes. And when you do that, you'll feel the pull of the old loop, the one that wants you to chase likes, approval, comfort. That's the matrix fighting back. Don't let it win. Let me tell you about a moment. In 2015, we were trying to land a Falcon 9 rocket back on Earth. Nobody thought it was possible rockets were one use, disposable, done. We failed over and over. Explosions, crashes, millions down the drain. The easy move would have been to give up, pivot to something safer, something that'd get me a quick headline. But I stayed focused. I looked at the data, worked with my team, iterated like hell. And then one night in Florida, we did Ida Rocket, landed upright, like something out of a sci-fi movie. That's what focus does. It takes the impossible and makes it real. Your mission doesn't have to be landing rockets. It can be anything that pulls you out of bed in the morning. But you've got to protect it. The world's going to throw distractions at you, endless notifications, shiny trends, voices saying you're not enough. A sovereign mind doesn't listen. It's like a spaceship with a clear trajectory. Every ounce of fuel goes toward the destination. For me, that destination's Mars, sustainable energy, a future where humanity is not just surviving, but thriving. For you, it's your call. But whatever it is, focus is your engine. Here's my challenge to you. Pick one thing today, one goal, one step, one piece of your mission. Block out an hour, no phone, no email, no noise, just you and that thing. Work on it. Feel the resistance, the urge to check your feed, to see what's trending. Push through it. That's the sovereign mind at work. It's not about being perfect, it's about being present. It's about choosing what matters over what's easy. When I started Neuralink, people said it was nuts connecting brains to computers. Come on, but I focused. I saw a future where humans could keep up with AI, where we could unlock new possibilities for our minds. That focus is why we're making progress step by step. You can do the same. Stop trying to be everything to everyone. Pick your mission, lock in, and build. The world's not ready for what a focused mind can do, but you are. Let's keep moving. You've seen the matrix, faced the truth, broken the addiction loop, and harnessed the power of focus. Now it's time to take the final step. I'm Elon Musk, and I'm not here to give you a pep talk or a pat on the back. I'm here to challenge you to become something more, the architect of your own destiny. This isn't about just living, it's about building a life that's yours, a legacy that echoes beyond your time. The sovereign mind isn't the end of the journey, it's the beginning. It's the spark that lights the fire, the engine that drives you to create, to disrupt, to change the damn world. Are you ready to step up? Because the universe is waiting. Let's start with the moment that changed me. In 2011, SpaceX was still the underdog, scraping by after barely surviving our early failures. We just landed our first rocket, but the world still saw us as a long shot. I stood in front of my team in Hawthorne, California, and said something that stuck with me. We're not here to compete with Boeing or Lockheed. We're here to make humanity a spacefaring civilization. That wasn't just a mission statement, it was a declaration. It was me choosing to be the architect of something bigger, something that didn't depend on anyone's approval. And that's what I want for you, to stop being a player in someone else's game and start designing your own. The sovereign mind is your ultimate weapon because it makes you unstoppable. It's not about shutting off your desires or living like a monk. It's about owning them, directing them, using them to fuel something extraordinary. When I started Tesla, the goal wasn't to build a car company, it was to rewrite the future of energy. When I launched Neuralink, it wasn't about gadgets, it was about keeping humanity in the driver's seat as AI evolves. Every crazy idea I've chased started with a choice to build something that matters, not something that impresses. That's what a sovereign mind does. It lets you see past the noise and create a future that's yours. But here's the hard truth. Choosing this path isn't easy. It's not a one-time decision. It's a daily fight against the pull of the matrix, the voices telling you to play it safe, to chase the quick win, to fit in. When I started the Boring Company, people thought I was nuts digging tunnels under cities to fix traffic. Come on. I could have listened to the skeptics, gone for something flashier, something that'd get me a quick headline. But I didn't. I chose to build, to solve a real problem, to leave a mark. That's what architects do. They don't follow blueprints, they draw them. Let's talk about what it means to be an architect. It's not about having all the answers or never failing. I've failed plenty, 3 rocket explosions, Tesla nearly bankrupt, critics tearing me apart. But every failure taught me something. It sharpened my focus, clarified my mission. When you embrace the sovereign mind, you stop seeing failure as a dead end. It's just data, feedback, a chance to iterate. When SpaceX's Falcon 1 blew up 3 times, I didn't quit. I looked at the numbers, tweaked the design, and kept going. The 4th launch worked. That's what architects do. They build, even when the world says it's impossible. Now, let's get real. You're sitting there maybe in a diner in Austin, a subway in New York, or your couch in LA, and you're wondering, how do I do this? How do I become the architect of my destiny? It starts with one question. What's your mission? Not what society tells you to want, not what looks good on LinkedIn, but what gets you out of bed when nobody's watching. For me, it's making humanity a multiplanetary species, accelerating sustainable energy, merging our minds with technology. For you, it might be building a business, creating art, raising a family that breaks the mold. Whatever it is, it's got to be yours. Write it down, make it real. Once you've got your mission, protect it like it's oxygen. The world's going to try to pull you away, endless distractions, doubters, the temptation to chase easy wins. Studies show the average American switches tasks every 3 minutes, losing 20% of their productivity to distractions. That's 360 hours a year. Imagine what you could build with that time. When I was coding Zip 2, I didn't have 360 extra hours. I had a beat up computer, a couch to crash on, and a mission to make information accessible. I blocked out the noise and built. You can too. Here's how you start. First, commit to your mission. Make it non-negotiable. When we were building the Tesla Mo 1 Do 3, I slept on the factory floor to keep production on track. Not because it was fun, trust me it wasn't, but because it was necessary. Your mission deserves that kind of commitment. Second, act like an architect. Break your goal into pieces, data, steps, outcomes. When I started SpaceX, I didn't just say, let's go to Mars. I broke it down, build a rocket, make it reusable, land it, scale it. You do the same. What's the first step? Take it. Now, third, expect resistance. The world doesn't like architects, it likes followers. When you start building your own path, people will push back. They'll call you crazy, like they called me when I said I'd make rockets reusable. They'll say, you're too intense, too different, too out there. Let them, their noise is just proof you're doing something real. When I launched Starlink to bring internet to the world, critics said it was overkill, a pipe dream. Now we're connecting millions, from rural farms to war zones. That's what happens when you don't let the noise stop you. Let's talk numbers, because I'm a data guy. The average American spends 1,460 hours a year watching television or scrolling social media. That's 60 days, 2 months of your life gone. Imagine redirecting even half of that time to your mission. You could learn to code, design a product, start a movement, When I was a kid, I spent hours reading sci-fi, not to escape, but to fuel my imagination. That time wasn't wasted, it built the vision that became SpaceX. Your time is your most valuable asset. Use it to build, not to consume. Being an architect means living with purpose. It's not about being perfect, it's about being deliberate. Every choice, every action, every hour should serve your mission. When I started Neuralink, I wasn't trying to impress anyone. I was trying to solve a problem. How do we keep up with AI without losing who we are? That focus, that purpose is why we're making progress. You can do the same. Pick your mission, make it your North Star, and let everything else fall away. Here's the thing, this path isn't crowded. Most people won't take it. They'll stick to the matrix, chasing likes, paychecks, applause. That's fine for them. But you're different. You're here because you feel it, that spark, that pull towards something bigger. That's your sovereign mind waking up. It's telling you you're not here to fit in. You're here to build, to create, to leave a dent in the universe. Let me leave you with a story. In 2020, we launched astronauts to the International Space Station, SpaceX's first crewed mission. It wasn't just a win for us, it was a win for humanity. But it didn't happen because I chased approval. It happened because I chose a mission and stuck to it through failures, doubters, and impossible odds. That's what I want for you. Not a life of comfort, but a life of impact. Not a life of applause, but a life of purpose. So here's my challenge.